everyone, and welcome back. So I've started to think about the presentations I'm going to be giving on the conference circuit later this year, and I thought there's really cool stuff I want to do with showing how there's an entire desktop built with Fyne running entirely in Go. So you can see me currently running on my Fishos laptop with the latest FyneDesk loaded, and this is the Fyne terminal. But I can do presentations, I can load web pages, show things running on the command line, but I wanted to bring them all together a little bit more, and I thought it might be really cool if we could have a command line program that's being able to control the desktop, a remote control or a command line interface to the desktop environment. And so that's exactly what I've built. Let me step you through this just quickly. So if you've got the latest version of FyneDesk from Develop branch, you can turn this on in the settings, go to Advanced, and scroll down and make sure that RPC is turned on. With that enabled, then there's a new command line utility, FyneDesk CTL, and we can issue commands that are going to interact with the desktop. There's a very basic help there that tells us a little bit about what could be done, and a list command which tells you the modules that are loaded. It can give you a bit of a hint about the commands that are available, although the help needs a little bit of work. You can see illustrations here. We can do brightness control, run calculator commands, really bizarre stuff, but it's hooking into the modules that are already loaded. And so we didn't need to write any additional code to be able to make use of the launcher modules. So we could start with just a little bit of maths. There you go. It prints it out. It's nothing clever. There's plenty of good command line utilities for doing that, but it's using our module system. Of course, it's hard to see how something like that is going to be particularly helpful for a presentation or even why it's useful. It is just a starting point. There's lots of new commands to be added, but there are some pretty useful ones built in. For example, I could use the new big type that's been recently added and just type big, this rocks. And you can see it's invoking the big type module, applying it onto the desktop, as though we had addressed it from the launcher. So that offers some interesting opportunities. I think next what we really need to do is to do window handling and virtual desktop controls, but I'd really be interested to see what you think as well. Let me just drop you into the code very briefly to show you how this works. So here you can see the RPC module, a very simple init which registers this new module using the metadata that's defined here. RPC, that's what you saw when you turned the module on. If we go down to the end here, you can see we're constructing a new connection. We're eliminating any stale connection here, setting up a new server, and a Unix socket is set up on that path. We just sit there accepting it, waiting for a new connection. And when we do serve the content, it's coming up and using the service, which is doing something like launch or list modules, which you saw on the command line earlier. Launch is just using this launch input helper. And as you can see, it's just iterating through the modules and seeing if it has a launch suggestion. That's where the text prompt comes from. And if it matches, it goes ahead and launches it. And we have a web search as well that falls back to the end if there's no other matches. Pretty straightforward stuff. And of course, we just need a command line that connects to the other end of the socket and sends the strings through it to be interpreted by the server. It's really straightforward stuff. Why don't you give it a shot? You might have noticed that actually there's some words creeping in here. Instead of FyneDesk, in some places you might have noticed the word Tide. That's because the next video that I show you around the desktop environment is going to be the change of name to Tide, bit new branding, and a whole cleanup ready for a big release with an exciting new brand name. Thanks so much for joining me on this video. I hope it's been interesting as always. Do check out my other sites. You've got my blog at andy.xyz, or my YouTube archive is available with andy.xyz as the username. Please do consider sponsoring me on Patreon. You could get one of those lovely stickers and the chance to vote on topics that we're going to cover in future videos. And of course, consider checking out aptrix.ai as well, where we're helping people build robust applications where security matters without having to learn how to code and deploy it across all platforms. Have a great week. I'll see you next time.